Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to Lights
Camera
and Conversation. I'm Walid Chaya.
I'm Kavita Raj.
And Kavita, I'm so excited to
my
chat
God,
with you in the
yes.
new year. Happy 2024.
Oh my God, Happy New Year.
I almost jinxed you and said it at the
Yes,
same
we
time.
said it at the same time. Because we're
Bestie,
both happy.
I'm so happy to see you. We're kicking off season 3
Oh my gosh.
of Lights, Camera,
In the new
Conversation in the new year.
Oh my goodness.
And we're both in a festive spirit,
Yes,
right?
clearly we both have the holiday hangover.
Yes.
Love it with
Love
the
your green.
festive colors. But yeah, I was just like, you know what? In case we are running low on light, why don't I come in this?
Yes, exactly. So those of you watching on YouTube, leave us some love.
Yes.
Let us know if you're having a holiday hangover and still in a festive spirit.
Yeah.
We're excited to kick today off. Kavita, we have so much to talk about.
Yes.
And we also have a great season ahead with more special guests coming,
Yes.
new topics, a new year. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, how have you been and what have you been up to lately?
my
How was
gosh.
winter break?
Oh my gosh, winter break was fabulous, super busy actually. But we also got to have a little bit of downtime, some family time. We all caught up, as friends. And my older daughter, Ria, had a bunch of performances in the month of December that were great. My husband and I switched this time where he was the tour manager on tour with Ria and her entire crew of performers, and he got to have that experience, which is great. Everything from commuting, transport, hotel, food, other arrangements, sound check, lights, making sure that all the logistics were coordinated to perfection. So he got to have that while I was running a lot of errands and managing at home base with Lara, who is getting ready to start her journey with Cat's Eye, as we talked about.
Yes, the new global girl group.
Yes,
We're so
and
excited about that too.
Thank you. So just a lot of holiday-related preparation for that, getting things in order with her. I was supporting that, and so the month of December was wonderful. How was yours? How was your holiday season and December?
December, is very, very busy at the top of the month
Yeah.
because Hollywood gets so quiet
Yeah.
by the time, it's the holiday season.
Yeah.
So it was very busy in the beginning of December, just finishing off a lot of the projects we started in the new year and also preparing to come back strong in pilot season, which is pilot season, today's topic, of
Yes.
course. We're going to go deeper into that.
January.
But December for me was finishing what I started and then getting ready for pilot season, which is now almost in full force. And, just trying to enjoy my downtime as well during the holidays, getting to see you and spend quality time, getting to have some good food, and just really make sure that my happiness meter, my energy, my creativity is back at it and ready at 110%.
Yeah, I mean, January is a renewed, fresh start. Like we are always, talking about how important that is. And I know you're going to touch upon this in the episode itself, but I'm guessing it's a different kind of renewed energy for everyone for pilot season this year because we're all coming fresh off the strike and, all the renewals around that.
Exactly. So I'm going to have lots of exciting updates for everyone about that because it is a different kind of pilot season. COVID's passed now. We've been on strike, not just the actors, but the writers, which is wrapped. And we're in a new year. So there's going to be some interesting things to look forward to and some familiar stories to, get back on the bandwagon. But before we dive into pilot season, I do want to give some love to our musicians and just get some more advice from you because it's different for musicians.
Yes.
It's not exactly pilot season.
Exactly.
What should musicians be focusing on for the beginning of the year?
Yeah, so first of all, January is a great month because a lot of musicians are preparing for Grammy season.
Ooh, Grammys.
And every year, kind of all the nominations are in. If you are a voting member of the Recording Academy, I highly recommend that you use that voice to be able to vote for your favorite artists that will be, kind of in the nominating ring and also for your artists that you think should be winning the awards. So that is, first and foremost on a lot of people who are actively involved with the Recording Academy. That's like a big thing in January.
If I'm not involved with the Recording Academy, can you just give me in a quick snippet and we can do a whole episode on this? But how can I be involved or when would be an appropriate time?
Absolutely. If you are a full-time working artist in in the music business, or if you are someone who is in the music business as a manager or an agent or, an A&R and so on and so forth, you should try and apply to be a member of the Recording Academy. It is something that happens once a year, but you can apply once a year, and then you need to be recommended. So you need to get like industry peers to recommend you. So they'll be evaluating the application and then let you in to be in the Recording Academy. So my daughter Ria is a voting member in the Recording Academy, and hence she is always mindful of the opportunities it brings her and the responsibility she has as an artist to be
She's
part of
gotten
the
to
community.
perform at Grammy events.
Yes,
Last year
exactly.
was a very exciting one.
Exactly.
And also
So-
to attend,
Yes,
right? And how
exactly.
cool is that?
Exactly. She attends every year, and it's something she looks forward to. So that's one important thing that's happening in the month of January.
Right.
I really have this suggestion for most musicians that feel like they want to have this organized for the year.
The beginning is such an important part to really, hit it hard.
Yes.
And see a year ahead. And for those listeners of ours, I think it's integral if they just heard last week's replay of our goal setting for
Yes.
artists episode,
Yeah.
which is episode number 20, goal setting for artists, because we talk about planning not just for your next day, but looking long term, a year, 5 years, and then, short term and what that means and how it all fits in the puzzle.
Right.
So I love that the musicians are taking this time to really lay out the blueprints.
Yes.
It's integral. That's
Yes.
so exciting. I can't wait to see what happens
Yes.
with Ria, with Laura, with you and Shri as the family makes this all go into play.
Yes.
So with that said, let's
Yes,
go
tell
ahead
me
and
about-
shift to actors, yeah?
How does that relate from the film and TV perspective?
Yes, because actors are doing something similar. Their year does kick off like the way the Grammys does for musicians with pilot season for actors
Correct.
right off the bat. Pilot season is usually from the end of January or beginning of February all the way through the end of April, okay? And pilot season is when new TV show pilots are being cast. So it's your chance to be in a show that has an original cast that hasn't been selected yet, so you could be a series regular.
Gotcha.
Being a series regular is a treat. It means you're on every episode. You're a regular.
Consistent work.
Right. Consistent work, and then hopefully it's more than one season. Just like imagine being on the cast of Friends or the cast of Modern Family or a series regular in Law and Order or
Yeah.
Grey's Anatomy.
Oh.
I mean, Grey's Anatomy has, I can't even remember, but 15, 18 seasons, like something ridiculous.
I think more.
If
It
not
started,
more.
like in-
yeah.
yeah.
And so that's quite a career, So that is what pilot season is. And I'm going to break it down today to our listeners on exactly the origins of pilot season, how it became, why it's important, how to approach it if you're a child actor, which I'm sure you're going to have some feedback on because Laura and Ria have done this during this time of year, especially with self-tapes and auditions and new shows, and also how to approach it if you're an adult and what exactly is casting looking for and what else is happening during pilot season. So I'm going to cover a lot. Are you ready to go on this
Yes.
journey with
Oh
me
my God,
today?
very excited.
Okay, super. So we're going to start with exactly what is pilot season. All right, I already mentioned it's the new TV show pilots to become a series regular, but not all of them make it on air. Only about 75 to 100 pilots from all the networks put together usually show up in your fall TV lineup.
You're right.
Okay?
Exactly. So what percentage approximately? So if you are a network and you have like you said, hundreds of pilots ready to go, what percentage really ends up
Probably
making it?
5 to 10.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
very low percentage.
Yeah.
Just
the
guesstimating,
amount of-
really,
yeah.
right? And so, what is interesting though is that the streaming system has changed pilot season in many ways because now different streaming platforms, especially, they might cast a pilot in November.
Right.
They might cast a pilot in the summer. So, pilot season, people also say now, is year round.
Right.
Because you can audition for a pilot during episodic season,
Right.
which is in the fall. So, but naturally and traditionally, because we still have TV networks, because people still subscribe to cable, and cable exists with shows on
shows.
24/7,
Yep.
and ads, which are commercials between the shows. That's what we're going to get to in a moment. That is why pilot season is still very important and exists, because the networks still exist and are releasing this content. So let's talk about that a little more. When these shows get selected, these 75 to 100, they're going to be showing their best shows to advertisers so that they're greenlit. So each network is taking the best of the best shows they have, and they show it to their advertisers. That's called the upfronts. Okay, and when they show it to the advertisers, they're trying to seduce them, to interest them. This is with these big names. We're going to expect these numbers, these celebrities of this following. This story's been tested, and this is what we think the outcome's going to be. And then advertisers sign on for commercial campaigns, for interactive campaigns, for all sorts of promotions that you're going to see roll out. And the fact that people watch these series on a weekly basis, there's a loyalty there. So for these advertisers, they're very excited about getting creative with how they reach you every single week.
Potential repeat clientele.
Exactly. So it's really about advertising. That's really why pilot season exists. I was doing some research, and I found out that it's because of the car industry, especially. When pilot season began many, many years ago, all right, when Hollywood was in its golden era and, TV was brand spanking new, who wanted to especially get ad space? It was the automotive industry. Why? Because cars are most sold in 2 seasons, but especially one. Can you guess the 2?
Holidays.
The fall, end of year, correct. And the other one is the spring, right? So, but the fall, end of year, really what they call that, car sales are in highest in the spring and fall. Fall is perfect for pilot season, as most purchases happen for the end of the model year. Okay, so it's the end of the model year. That's what they call it. And so when these fall TV shows are premiering, what a great time to get you in the door. And to finish their stock of cars, that stockpile, and get it out. And so there's a lot of money also in the automobile industry and in cars. Side story, tangent really quick. Do you know why the LA subway metro system is not as strong as like New York's, for example?
Because of the car lobbying?
Yes, because of car lobbying. The automobile industry, I believe it was Ford, back maybe the 60s or 70s. I believe the story goes, they bought out the steel so that the train tracks wouldn't be built as efficiently and, all over.
That is so
and
crazy.
more people bought cars. And LA has so much traffic, like a couple other major metropolitan cities. But, I don't have to tell you about that. And so it's
So the next thing to combat that is we need flyovers.
Oh my gosh,
more
exactly.
Second level of flyovers.
Oh my gosh.
Flyovers over flyovers.
I don't even know. LA traffic is a nightmare, but ultimately the car industry, has been a testament to advertising.
So that makes sense.
And to pilot season, and the seasons being similar to sales. All right. So I think that's an interesting little, tidbit of information to know from the business background. So pilot season happens, and then these episodes air in the fall. In the fall, once it's airing, it's called episodic season. They're already on the air, and episodic season's from September to late November before we see all the holiday shows. Now, during episodic season, there's still casting happening, all right? That casting might not be for pilots, but it's going to be for all the other roles in the episode. So if the series regulars have already been picked during pilot season, during episodic season, if that episode has a guest star, or if that episode has a co-star, perhaps the character goes to a cafe, there's that cashier. All these characters that aren't series regulars, that's a great opportunity for a fresh face or a new actor especially to book those roles and to get those credits under their belt. Those are what you call the 5 and unders, the day players, the guest stars. And that will lead you then to be competitive so that you could be a name and compete for pilots.
And have all of this under your belt and have enough reels to show for the next.
So that's episodic season, and that's when the pilots premiere on usually the fall TV lineup. In terms of the cycle for pilots, usually pitches happen in the summer, with the networks, with the producers and the writers. So summer is for pitching. By the fall, writers are assigned to the new scripts, to the pilots. So the pilots are written in the fall. And then they're ordered, shortly after within the upcoming months, so that by late Jan, mid-February, these pilots are ordered, and it means casting has begun for the pilots. So then they're cast. By end of April, The casting's finished, they're screened, they're reviewed, and that's when the grand upfronts happens, which I talked about earlier, where they pitch to advertisers, they try to seduce them with the season. And then shortly after that, summer's around the corner, they're writing the series.
Okay.
And they're in production. And then we have the fall premiere.
Gotcha.
So that's the full cycle, just in a nutshell.
Right.
Okay?
So are they filming then in the summer so that it's
Exactly.
ready for like a fall, debut?
Yeah, once a pilot picks up, it usually goes straight into filming.
Gotcha.
So, now there's been delays because we have so much backed up due to COVID, due to the writer's strike, due to the actor's strike.
Right.
A lot of networks have content backed up. And several networks are calling series straight to order.
Right.
Several networks are no longer even testing pilots. They're just producing, and they're producing new seasons that are actually a little bit shorter than the, full season. So things are changing now.
Right.
There's a lot of content that's been tabled and shelved.
Right.
So it's not always going to be linear, but this is traditional.
Right. This is the traditional way, but as you said, streaming platforms are changing the game, not only for film and TV, but obviously have for music as well. So it's all like, very dynamically shifting. Somewhat similar in the music world is that, an artist who is looking for music has a choice of a multitude of songs that songwriters and producers can present to them. So you really, as a producer or songwriter, you may be working or, worked on 100 songs, and you'll be lucky if like 2 or 3 of them get like placed with artists and actually have like a release. So you are working like writers. You're writing a lot of script, but then a couple of them will get picked up.
Songwriter. I mean, that's in the title, right? That's such a great, way to look at them side by side. So in looking further here, let's talk about the artists as we look side by side and really dive deep. Pilots are seeing actors in 3 types, okay, or in 3 mediums, 3 divisions, whatever you want to think about it. This is just the way I like to look at it. This is my opinion. And it's children, it's fresh faces, which is not children, but, adults that might not be a name.
Right.
And then it's a name.
Right.
A name means you're a recognizable name. You're perhaps an A-list celebrity, or you might not be A-list. You might still be a recognizable name from popular indie films, from social media, personality, from, a commercial. It could be anything, right? And so those are the 3. So again, it's children, fresh faces, and names, all right? Kids and children, they're not expected to have as much experience or as much under their belt or on their resume just because they're kids and children.
Right, yeah.
So it's actually one of the best times, in my opinion, for parents to try a child's career is during pilot season, because there's just so much more work. What a great time to make an investment where the volume is greater. And know that, if your kid is sharp in terms of their familiarity with the process. They're great with words. They're a good reader. They can pick up the script and they have good intentions. They'll be ready to compete and audition.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that for Laura and Rhea? I know there was some self-tapes. There was some things they did while in New York and beyond.
Yeah, a flurry of auditions would come for them in the month of January and February. However, by the time they got into the, kind of acting world, when they were much younger, the streaming platforms opportunities were more. So Netflix or Amazon Prime started having like more shows that I think Rhea and Lara were a good fit for, a good look for. So they were getting a lot of that. So it's very quickly, while we were super like ready in January, it became like throughout the year, like you said. And so I think their opportunities were more like in the modern streaming platforms that we were getting a lot more auditions for.
Yes, and I think that's also because the modern streaming platforms were able to take more risks in the type of shows that they streamed. Right. And these, dare I say, risks included diversity.
Right, yeah.
And so people like your daughters, like me, luckily, actors that aren't traditionally, the exact, type for a lead in an episode. Correct. Are now being seen for new series that are innovative and that are pushing boundaries.
Yeah, and so we ended up seeing quite a bit in the fall as well. And it was year-round, and they were, always prepared, putting their best foot forward. And we've talked about this before. Like, it's one of those things that, you go in and then you're sometimes called back and you're like going through multiple rounds of it, and then you either book it or you don't, and that's a whole other situation.
That's a whole other thing, right. So it's like a lottery game, and I think people in the Hollywood business need to be aware that they're playing a lottery game.
Yeah.
And there is a thrill in that gamble.
Yeah.
Because when you hit big, you hit big.
Right.
And when you don't hit big, you're just continuing to survive,
Yeah.
survive.
Yes.
And to just figure it out and learn and grow and be happy, right?
Yeah.
Because the moment you're not happy with it any longer, because
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
not easy.
Absolutely.
And it is a game of chance to some extent.
Yeah.
You have to really enjoy the craft. That's why you hear enjoy the process.
Yes. And we often talk about the importance of, having diverse skills and like kind of being able to do many different things. Because as an artist, you're always inspired to do what you dream of doing, but also there's bills to pay and there is, things that need to get done. So as many skills as you can develop within your field, I think it's just great.
Right, exactly, till you get that big break.
Exactly.
Yes. So with kids not having to have as much on their resume, as much under their belt, really following their instincts more, it is important for them to have a foundation. So have an acting coach that's prepared them to know what to expect in the audition room, how to deliver lines, how to cold read, those basic skills,
Exactly.
and that they're not overcoached.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now, for adults, it's the opposite, right? If you're in your 30s, right? If you're in your 40s, even if you're in your 20s, there's a little bit more of an exception. You might just be finishing college. But, they're expecting, by they I mean casting, something on the resume.
Right.
They need to see something. They need to see some credits to know and trust that the responsibility they're going to give you to come and play this part,
Right. You'll deliver.
You'll deliver, and you've had a sort of similar responsibility in the past
Yeah.
that you've executed professionally.
Absolutely. And that helps to know that a lot. Gives such a sense of relief for the producer and director to know that they're, entrusting somebody with this project and they're
Yes.
going to deliver.
So I do want to remind performers that are listening, especially actors, that they shouldn't forget while pilot season is happening, there is still indie film being cast. There are still commercials being cast.
Music videos.
Music videos are being cast. There's still so much going on beyond the pilot.
Right.
And so, if you're feeling like, I didn't get a pilot this year, if that's, a goal of yours and you're looking, back a couple months in, well, just consider, are you also putting your eggs in different baskets? Because, a certain pool of actors might be now being considered for pilots. They're learning lines, they're taping, they're auditioning for that. Well, now those actors are not available to audition for commercials or for the indie films. And so it opens up some new ways for you to come in and book those roles.
Absolutely. And thank you for recently helping us cast a music video.
Yes, of course.
And as you said, sometimes, one's working on a very tight budget. So another great way is to work on a voluntary basis as long as your expenses are met. And those are great ways to also build your resume and your bio. And that
your
counts
network too.
as your, screen time. So.
Yeah, and your network.
Yeah.
Because those people then will, I've heard one of many people do, gigs where they might be volunteering or helping, especially just getting started.
Exactly.
And the director then calls them for something else on another project with something in mind.
Exactly.
Because they can trust them.
Absolutely. And recently, we've had a couple of experiences where the entire crew that we worked on for a music video is actually also a crew that works on film and TV projects. So they're keeping those artists in mind, those actors, extras in mind for other things. So.
I love that.
Yeah.
So actors listening, don't forget, beyond pilot season, there's still indie film, there's still commercials, there's still music videos. There's so many opportunities going on. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. Yes, go for the pilots. Yes, set your goals to be a series regular, knowing you're prepared and ready for that.
Correct.
And also be open to other work, theater, film, voiceover, print, commercial. There's so much to, fill your cup.
Yeah. Oh my God, look at us hitting the ground running in the new year.
Yes.
So
now,
much to say.
I want to talk briefly about series regular expectations because we've talked before about being prepared for an audition, what it takes, to stand out when there are so many audition tapes. But series regular expectations. Now, the first audition you're going to get, it's usually going to be due in 48 hours. Most of the time, they don't count weekends, right? And it's usually about 8 pages, okay? The next time, if you get a callback or they want to see something additional, they might give you more or different sides, and it could be up to 15 pages, all right? This could be pretty standard, whether it's a pilot or not. This could be the same for an indie film, for an episodic. But what's important here and what's different here is that for a pilot, you don't have a source to pull from. The world of that television show doesn't yet exist. So you don't have an episode to watch for tone. Instead, you need to look at what the writer's past credits are, who the director is on that episode, what are they known for? Do they have a certain style? Is it being repeated in this new pilot? Can you pull from these context
That's
clues?
a great thing. Yeah,
Okay?
doing your research on what their style is like from their past work
Yes.
and matching that. And they were clearly picked for a reason to be
Correct.
the director or the writers on the show.
For this
So
comedy, for this drama,
Yeah, so
for
what is
this
their prior-
suspense thriller, whatever kind of TV
Superb
show it
advice.
is. So that'll
Yeah.
help you figure out the tone as the performer. It'll help you figure out how to approach the script, okay? Now, if they've given you more than one scene, it's so that they can see your range. Because as a series regular, you are carrying the project. You are a series regular, right? So as that lead, they want to see your range. So let's say they give you 2 or 3 scenes. Quick tip off the bat, I tell actors, look at the page number on the scene. Because you'll see the first scene might be from the first couple pages.
Right.
While the next scene somewhere in the middle, and the third scene might be somewhere towards the end. What they're looking for is an arc. They want to see your character arc. They want to see how is this character different throughout their journey in the
Right.
beginning, middle, and
and
end.
the end, yeah.
How do you bring a different flavor, taste, emotion, vulnerability, to it? Each scene should look different, right? Each scene should feel different. It should be the same in the character's authentic self and voice,
Yeah.
but we should go on that journey, and that's what they're looking for. So when you hear, the scene should have different colors, your beats should have, levels. When you hear all that advice, these words, colors and levels and variety, that's what they mean. And
Yeah.
looking at the page number as a signifier
Yeah.
is a big help. But that's super important for pilots
Yeah.
because these characters don't exist yet.
Right.
And they want to see your range and your scope.
That is such a brilliant tip. I obviously did not know that. And this is why when you speak with an expert like yourself, who is a coach, who is, running a program. Guys, we're actually doing this on this show. This is so amazing that you shared this super cool tip for people who are auditioning
Yes.
to know. I mean, like how to win in that audition. What is going to make you stand out?
Yes, absolutely. And so, you never know. So just look at the page numbers and make sure, you also have the experience. And by that, I don't mean you wait to be a pilot season achiever and you book a series regular to learn how to be a
Right.
series regular. It's all the guest stars you've booked before. It's all the co-stars you've booked before. It's all the training and prep you've done in class working with long scripts and with complicated characters that have led you to be ready to be a
Right.
series regular.
Yeah.
Okay? So I will say, sometimes they are looking for names. They're like, we want, a recognizable name. Sometimes they use the word celebrity. They use the
Yeah.
word A-list. Sometimes they just say name in general. Sometimes they say name in the blank field, comedy
Yeah.
field, or in the world of dance. They might want someone, who has a skill, or that's
Right.
also a musician, or that
Right.
has a social media following.
Correct.
There might be something linked to that. So you mentioned really working on those skills and all the different things that make you a strong candidate
Right.
for any project. And I
Right.
think that's going to be important in pilots. So some people do get their break because they are a fresh face. Casting wants to discover the next Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right.
Casting wants to discover, the next big name. But because of marketing dollars and certain scripts and stories, there are package deals where they're
Right.
counting on a celebrity.
Right.
And usually once the celebrity's in, they do build the world around them with fresh faces.
Right.
So that's where if you're looking for your big break, this could be your time
Right.
to get that series regular, playing the best friend of Viola Davis or, whoever that character might be in that pilot.
Yeah. Training and preparation, right? In addition to your raw, natural, amazing talent, you've also got to have that training and preparation. That goes a
Exactly.
long way.
So it goes from audition, then it goes to callback, then it goes to a chemistry read. And the chemistry read and the callback are different because the callback is when they might give you more sides and then narrow it down in your role. But the chemistry read, they're now teaming you up with other characters that might be. So if it's like for Friends, they probably teamed up the group of friends.
Can imagine.
Right? And switched them all out. You
Yeah.
read Ross now you read this other character, now and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. And then it leads to a producer session. The producer session's towards the end of the casting process for the actor, and that's where they meet with the key decision makers.
Okay.
The producers, obviously, the directors, the studio execs, the showrunner. It's all those big honchos, and it's time to really bring it. And that's, the last part of it.
Yeah.
And then from there, the rest is history.
Yes. Oh my God. And then
Yes.
comes the epic shows.
Yeah. And so when actors finally get these shows, if they're selected, a lot of the time writers, or even before they're selected, casting might say, can you send us your client's demo reel? We want to see the actor's demo reel. And that's because they now want to see range outside of the scenes they provided. They want to see range in the actor's body of work and to see what else they've got.
Yeah.
Like you said, what else can they bring to the table? That's exciting because it helps producers then see the scope for a full season or for a full series.
Right.
Okay?
What do they look like in action?
Yeah, just over a whole, world and range. And then it's helpful for writers because a lot of writers will use your demo reel to get to know you. And then you as the series regular showing up on set for episodes and then seasons to come, they get to know you more and they start to write around you.
Around you.
So you've watched Modern Family.
Yeah,
You're a big fan. I
absolutely.
love Modern Family. I'm re-binging the whole
Yeah.
series now for like the 4th time. It's so good.
I'm going to restart now.
And like Cam's character who does clowning, well, he loves to clown before he was on Modern Family, and so they wrote that in, so he gets to be a clown on Modern Family. Same with Phil in Magic. Phil loves to be an amateur magician. That was
They
a
wrote that
ll
in.
he had, so they wrote it around him.
I love it.
So it's just so exciting to know that you then start to really create the world and these characters. And what's even more exciting, and this is where the money talk comes in, Kavita, is once you're a part of a pilot, now it depends on your negotiation, but most producers, directors, and lead actors that are in pilots, even if they're not in seasons to come beyond the pilot, they will still get paid if they've made that contractual arrangement due to the pilot.
Right.
So the creator of Friends, let's say they don't work anything past the pilot, well, they're still getting paid for the full series for every episode.
That's insane.
Right.
That's amazing because they created it.
Well, yeah. Or the people that are key players on the first episode.
Yeah.
Maybe a character doesn't come back, or they get killed off midway through the series, or they don't come back for a different season, but the season gets picked up, and they were part of the pilot, and they were contractually agreed upon to get, residuals and royalties due to that. So that's why pilots are big. That's why every writer, director, actor, wants to book a pilot. There's longevity in it. There's excitement in being a series regular, knowing you have job security.
Right.
And I think that's super cool. Before we wrap this up and shift over to pop culture really quickly, I do want to share with our listeners, you've known about this, it's the LA Acting Boot Camp. And it's a program that I run for actors.
Yes.
And we do have a pilot season special right now.
Okay.
Really quickly, the LA Acting Boot Camp, for those that don't know, is 3 days with 12 casting directors, agents, film directors, and VIPs. It's 3 life-changing days for any performer that happens in Los Angeles. And the next one's coming up soon that I'm hosting. Actors from all over the country that are over age 18 are able to submit online for free to see if they'll get approved into the program. So it is by approval, and I only take a handful of actors, and those actors then get to, over 3 days, work with those 12 VIPs. And the pilot season program is really geared towards TV. It's TV heavy. We're working with long scripts like in pilots. We're meeting industry professionals that are pitching for pilots, that have actors and talent in pilots, and that are casting for pilots. And it's a great way to be seen, discovered, or to simply get your feet wet, just to start at the beginning. And it's called LA Acting Boot Camp. And I encourage anyone listening to check it out. Check out my website, walidchaya.com/bootcamp, or studioforperformingarts.com, because it's also a great way to explore pilot season. I have to throw that out there.
Yes,
because that's also what we're focusing on now. So there's a lot that goes on into getting into a pilot, and there's a lot that goes on beyond pilot season.
Yes.
And there's a lot that goes on for musicians as well. So it's going to be a very busy beginning of the year for all of us.
Yes, and getting the right foot forward is perfect. It's important.
Yes. Now, to shift into pop culture segment, we wanted to discuss, I'm not sure if you've seen it yet, but the Beyoncé film, the Renaissance film.
I am so excited to see it. I know we're super fans here, and now she's gone from the concert to the movie.
Yes.
I can't wait to see it.
Yes, so you have to see it and let me know what you think. I know you wanted me to share a little bit of my thoughts with you about the film. I saw it in December. I saw it, I believe, the second weekend it was out, and it took me right back to being at the concert.
At the concert,
right? I had the privilege, thank God, of seeing the show twice. Once in New York and once for her birthday show with you. You were there, bestie,
incredible.
in LA on September 4th. And there was footage from both shows, which was cool, from the Houston show. There was footage from all of the shows, and it was a documentary meets a filmed version of the concert.
Right.
So we did
a lot
see
of behind the scenes.
a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of commentary on what it takes. Like, I didn't know that huge set that she uses, she has 3 of those sets.
Okay.
And they tour between the different cities, getting ahead, because it takes so much time to build and take down that they need more than one.
Okay, so that's why they have 3, and
They have
like
3.
for the
And
different
if you really,
geographical.
like, that set is huge.
Wow.
It fills a stadium. You know what I mean? It creates a backstage. It creates an audience and a pit and a VIP section. It extends all the way to the back of the stadium.
Yeah,
from
it's
the front
probably
of the
logical
stage.
for them to have that many because, you know, geographically they can move it around, and that's probably more efficient.
180 bus drivers, truck
Wow.
drivers, right, driving all this stuff across the country. Don't forget, she did a European part of her tour as well, and so that stuff has to be flown.
Imagine how much
over.
sense the economics of it must make to justify and warrant this level of a production.
Well,
quality.
her tickets were very expensive, and
Yeah.
people wondered why. Well, once you saw the product, you realized why. The artistry is unparalleled. And then once you've learned things like I just did from the film version, that there were like 3 moving sets, it makes sense. But not only that, it took 4 years to put it together.
Wow.
4 years. And you could see that in the art. And so, you know, it made me think, well, people are like, oh, she made so much money doing 50-something shows. You know, it's in the bag, and now she just gets to put leg over leg and chill. I was like, well, not exactly. She hasn't just been working for the last bit of the tour. She's been working for 4 years.
Yeah.
On producing just this story, while still doing, I'm sure, so much more, and being a human and being a mom and so on and so forth.
Yeah. And she's probably already like thinking about the next one now. So, you know, that will take a few more years. So you can imagine the amount of behind the scenes work that goes in prior.
Exactly. I think there's something special to say about making a film version of the concert. We've talked about adaptations before, but this is a great example of how she reaches a different market. What are your thoughts on that?
I think, you know, what it is, like you said, people that were unable to go to the concert, right, for various reasons.
Yes.
They get to go and experience a level of it by going to the theater. You're supporting the theater, you're supporting, you know, the film and TV side of it, you know, and you're able to partake in that experience. And like you said, and it's just so smart, such an intelligent move to be like, hey, I'm going to reach this bunch of the people that I couldn't reach with the live shows. So it's now literally, talk about like global domination.
Yes, exactly. And
she's the queen for a reason.
Yep,
So-
exactly. And then to see it on screen, because I had decent seats, but I didn't get to see the detail in the costumes.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see, you know, them sweat and their tears and just like up close
Absolutely,
and personal.
yeah,
So
same
to
here.
see it filmed and able to see the details
Yes,
of
close
the
up.
clothing, of their facial expressions, of the set pieces, of the props,
Yep.
you know, and how intricate everything was, of the microphone and noticing, oh, it's a crystal microphone or like a diamond mic, of, you know, the beading in her outfits, of just the intricate details. Even with the dancers, the formations, just seeing everything in a new medium was really exciting.
Yep. Can't wait. I'm going to go see it.
All right. So let me know what you think once you
I
see it,
will.
because we're going to powwow.
I will.
And in the upcoming episodes, we're going to have a special guest.
Yes,
Let's
super excited.
leave it as a surprise. As our
Yes.
listeners know, on Fridays, we release a teaser on social media.
Yes.
So if you're not following us yet on social, you can find us on Lights, Camera, Conversation.
Yes, and
Where can they
share.
find us, Kavita?
Yes, and you can find us on YouTube.
Yep.
You can watch it on YouTube. We're on all platforms where you can listen to your podcast.
Yes.
We're on all socials. Please drop us a note, drop us a line, write to
Yes.
us, engage with us, connect, and share.
Yes,
Thank you.
share. And we want to, know what you want to see more of in the new year.
Yes.
And let us know if your goal setting and if your pilot season prep or if your musician prep's going well. We want to hear.
Yes, we want to know and learn from you all and your experiences as well. So here's to a fantastic
Yes.
new year. Happy
Yes.
New Year. And
Happy
here's
New
to
Year,
a
bestie.
great 2024
Cheers.
for all of us.
Yes,
Thank
love
you
you,
guys.
bestie.
Love
Cheers.
you too.
Hey, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow on Instagram and TikTok. We love interacting. Also, the content in this podcast episode is provided for general informational purposes only. By listening to our episode, which we love,
you understand that no information contained in this episode should be construed as advice from Lights Camera Conversation or our individual authors, hosts, or guests. Nor is it intended to be a substitute for research on any subject matter. We always encourage you to do your research. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by Lights Camera Conversation. The views expressed by speakers are their own, and their appearance on our program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity that they represent. Thanks for listening, and until next time, have a great day.